Life Challenge. I am super excited that we have made it to our third day, the middle of the week. And I have seen many of you have been engaged. You have been sending your feedback. You've been working on your assignments. And I'm really, really excited for us to be here. I just want to test if everything is working before we move forward. So if you are on, just let me know so that we can actually continue with our day 3 challenge. I will just wait for any of you ladies to let me know. Awesome. I'm seeing good afternoon. Good afternoon. That means everything is going fine. Beautiful, beautiful ladies. So let's say a prayer and then we are going to delve into our important topic for day 3. So let's pray. Father, we are so thankful that you have taken us safely so far through this day of the week, Wednesday. As we go through this live training today, day 3 of our Wow Life Challenge, I pray for your wisdom for every single Wow woman, regardless of where she is in the world right now, that you would also give us your Holy Spirit to help us so that the information that we discuss, we can receive that power, that knowledge, that wisdom from you to make the changes we pray. In Jesus' name, amen. So yes, ladies, today, our topic for discussion and that presentation in our live training today is developing that wow mindset. It's about eliminating the limiting beliefs and mental blocks that are hindering you from being the woman that you're meant to be. And I'm sure you ladies will agree that it's important for us to be able to deal with these mental blocks, because yesterday we looked at fear and how fear can hinder us in so many different ways. And that's why we are following through on this topic today when we're looking at developing that wow mindset, developing that mindset that will help you to eliminate the blocks, to be able to become the woman that you're meant to be able to actualize into that wow woman in every single aspect or area of your life. And so this is where we are today. And I wanted us to really focus on that. You would have seen a post earlier in the group that said, is the mentally constructed glass ceiling holding you back? And I know that many of you may have asked, what is that mentally constructed glass ceiling? I will share briefly about it, but it's something that came out from my doctoral studies. When I did my dissertation, because I was studying women leaders in higher education, I was looking at how these women got into these positions, what made them different, because so few of them had served in the capacity of presidents of universities and colleges, even though, for example, the Adventist education system had been there for over 100 years already. And at the end of my study, one of the conclusions that we made was that some women, or most of us, especially Christian women, within maybe even more in particular religious groups and so on, have that mentally constructed glass ceiling, because while maybe there may not be written rules and regulations and so on, saying that women are not supposed to take up certain leadership positions, what we find happening is that many women are not aspiring to even get into these positions because of what I have phrased from my studies, the mentally constructed glass ceiling. Most of us already know about the glass ceiling that exists in the corporate world, where women have not been able to, or where women are breaking, but before, these women did not have access to certain positions and being able to serve in certain managerial positions or in high level positions, top leadership positions. But in this case, the mentally constructed glass ceiling is really referring to the stuff that have been programmed in the mind of a woman that would even prevent her from even wanting to be in the top leadership position, even though she may have been gifted, talented, or even called to leadership. And so that's where that leadership or that mentally constructed glass ceiling actually emerged. One gentleman by the name of Steve Maraboli stated that once your mindset changes, everything on the outside will change along with it. If you agree with what Steve has said, say, yes, I agree with Steve, right? But he was saying that once the mindset changes, everything on the outside changes along with it. And that goes very well with our training for today, which is about developing that wow mindset by eliminating limiting beliefs and these mental blocks. So for most of us women, we operate under a chain of false beliefs, right? Many of us actually operate with blocks. They are pre-programmed, probably they've been there through indoctrinations, but we have these false chain of beliefs that needs to be eliminated, that needs to be dealt with, because if we do not deal with these false chains of beliefs, we continue life in a cycle. We allow what is pre-programmed in our minds, we allow what we've been indoctrinated to believe about ourselves to hinder us, to block us, or to challenge us sometimes. So most of us, they create blocks, they create obstacles and hindrances that we never get over because we are not even aware that these mental blocks are there, that these limiting beliefs are there, that we have been pre-programmed and indoctrinated to think a particular way. And unless we are aware of these mental codes, unless we are aware of the programming, unless we are aware of the limiting belief mindsets, we are not going to be able to actually break through it, which is where we would like to break through that mentally constructed glass ceiling, right? But you must be aware that there's actually a barrier for you to be able to attack that, to be able to break it, to break through. And so we have a lot of these chain of false beliefs, and that is where we really want to spend the time with today. And some of these programs or codes that are in our head, it's almost like our minds are like computers, and people would put in these codes and these programs and stuff in, and then if they want to make a change on the outside, they have to go back or go in the back end of the computer or the back end of the system to be able to change a code so that they can see something different. Like when you're developing things like websites and so on, all of these things are developed using codes. And if there is something wrong, when you look at the preview, you see something wrong, you must go in the back end. And of course, you have to have the username and password. And God has given us access. We have access to our username and password in our head, but we have access to Him as well, to go in the back end and to begin to change the codes in the back end so that when you look at a preview or you look at the real page, the real thing, your life, we are able to see something different because the codes were changed in the back end. So we have these codes, these pre-programmed codes and so on. And some of these look like this, right? We are programmed to believe that, for example, I grew up in the Caribbean. And one of the things I realized in the Caribbean is that many of us would believe, or we have been programmed to believe, that if we get a good education, then it means that we actually could get a good job that will make us successful. So for us, we go to school, we do well in school, right? And the goal is when I am done with school, that means I will get a good job. So we are programmed to believe that. We have been socially conditioned to believe that if we get a nice job and so on, then we are successful. And so for some of us women, we do not want to step outside that norm because I have this good job. I did go to school, I got good grades, and I clocked in this good job. And if I live this, then I'm not sure what to do because I've already been programmed to believe that is what success is. For some of us, these codings or programming is like, my educational training or experience must be in the field that I want to work. And so we go to school and we study, for example, let's say in the area of psychology. Right? Part of my background is in psychology, my undergrad and my master's and stuff like that. And so we're programmed to believe that if I study in this area, then I must get a job in that area because that's where I have the expertise, that's where I have the experience and so on. And that is where I need to work. And so sometimes our true calling or our true purpose may fall outside of our area of training. It may fall outside of our area of expertise. And many of us have been programmed to believe that we are not going to be successful in a particular area if we are not trained in that area. So if you are identifying with any of these false beliefs, this chain of false beliefs, you can let me know in the comment section. Okay? And so some of us now, we have another chain of false belief. We believe that deep down inside we were created for something great. You know, you're there and you're struggling. You know that there's a deeper calling, because even though you studied in a particular area, you got this good job and everything, you're still not feeling content on the inside. You don't feel fulfilled. You go to work, you have a good impact there, you're making good money, but something on the inside is like, this is not it. This is not enough. I'm not having the impact that I'm meant to have. That is what happened with that client I mentioned about yesterday. We were having that conversation. She had been in nursing for over 20 years and she was doing a really good job, but she's struggling because she's like, I know there's more. I know I'm meant to do more, and this is not it. And so we have that greater calling. We know that there's something deeper that we're meant to do, but we are not doing it because we do not trust that we have that expertise. We do not trust that we'll be successful at it. We are afraid because we don't have the right support or the right mentorship to help us package our brilliance, to package our intelligence, to package all of what we have going for us to create that niche market, that business, or that whatever it is God is wanting us to do. So we are struggling there because of what we have been programmed to believe. Some of us are programmed to believe that if we take a leap of faith and leave our steady income, for example, leave our job, leave what is working, leave our comfort zone, and stepping out to the unknown that we spoke about yesterday in terms of that fear. We believe that if we do that, we may not be successful. But the reason why we have that false belief in our head is because for us, in order for me to do it, I need to see if somebody else is doing it and is successful at it. I need to see what the statistics says, what the data says, and so on. I need to see an example of somebody who actually left their job and went into that area. And so unless I have that information, then I cannot step out because that I might fail at it. And so we have that false belief in our head. Some of us have the false belief that, hey, you know what? In order for me to do what I'm meant to do, or what God is calling me to do, I need to have all the financial resources available. And to be honest, you ladies know it. If we had to depend on having the financial resources to do anything, most of us would have done nothing in our lives. I can personally testify to it because when I went to college, when I did my master's, when I went to do my PhD, none of these times did I ever have financial resources in a bank account, on a credit card, nada. But if I did not step out in faith, if I did not step out into the unknown, I would have still been working at the Bank of St. Lucia. But I left there in 2003 to just step out in faith without financial resources, without financial support, without anybody being able to assist me in taking a loan, without a scholarship, without any support. And so, but many women are hindered from stepping into their greatness, stepping into their wowness, stepping into their true purpose and living out their wow life because they have that false belief that I must have financial security. I must have all the funds available to do what I am doing and stuff like that in order for me to make it happen. Okay. Another false belief that we have, I'm not sure if what I have to offer is valuable enough. For the entrepreneurs in the house, you can probably testify to it. If you're there, you can say, yes, I get that one. Because for many of us, we think, okay, what the idea that God has given me or the calling that I feel on my life, it seems to be something really good. But what if others don't see the value in what I have to offer? Or maybe what I have to offer is not valuable enough. People are not going to pay me for them to be able to, get that from me. So we have that belief that what we have to offer may not be valuable enough. It will not fulfill your desire for personal freedom, maybe personal financial freedom. It might not give you the financial stability you're looking for. And it may not bring you the success that you're looking for because you're not sure if your clients are going to be willing to pay you for it. And so I've seen many women, and I'm sure there was a point in my experience, I can literally think about it, where I thought the same thing. That false belief that was hindering me from doing what God was calling me to do because of my mindsets. And finally, one of the false beliefs I want to address again is that we have been programmed to believe that our role as women is to not be a leader, to not be in top leadership, to not be a manager, to not be a business owner, to not be. Because if you try to do any of these things based on maybe where you live, maybe your society, maybe your country, it could be your church, it could be so many different factors, social factors that have said to you as a woman, that is not your place, that is not your role. You are supposed to be in a position that supports instead of being in a leadership position. You're not supposed to be the head. And we have used even the Bible to kind of keep women down, that women are not supposed to be the head. And therefore, if you have been called to be a leader by God, if you have been gifted with leadership potential and leadership abilities and skills, that's not your role. And so we've been programmed to think that. And because of that, many of us have not stepped into our greatness. We're talking about developing that wow mindset and getting rid of the limiting beliefs and the mental blocks that we have that's preventing us from being who we're meant to be. One Stanford psychologist, Karen Dweck, she has a book, Mindset, The New Psychology of Success. And in her book, she describes and discusses simple and impactful differences between two types of mindsets. One of the mindsets, she called it the growth mindset, and the other mindset, she called it the fixed mindset. And as you would imagine, the growth mindset refers to these people who believe that their abilities, or example, their talents and their intelligence can be developed. These people believe that if they put dedication and hard work, then they can actually develop greater skills and abilities and intelligence. So they're more likely, for example, to enjoy learning and to seek out new situations, to experiment and to look at failure as an opportunity to grow. Yesterday, we spoke about the fear of failure and how we should probably take that fear and make it work for us, use it as a tool for success, or a tool that teaches us. That is what a person with a growth mindset does. That person takes failure as an opportunity to learn. So it doesn't work this way, let me try this other way. This person believes that, learning is always possible. And even though I do not have, or I was not trained in a particular area, if I am dedicated and if I work hard, then I can develop those skills. Now we could imagine the contrary, somebody with a fixed mindset, believing the total opposite of what Carol Dweck is talking about. These people believe that they are who they are. They were born with a certain set of skills and a certain set of talents or intelligence and even interests. And because of this, these people are more likely to only look for opportunities or jobs or situations that would actually affirm their particular set skills, and so on. So they will do the same job over and over again so that they can get praise in that particular area. It actually validates, okay, this is what you're doing, and believe that that's their talent alone, that's all they can do. And so they don't need to expend effort outside of that to look for success. So if they're successful in what it is they do well, that they are good with it. But the truth is, for many of us, when we are in that state of that fixed mindset, it prevents us from growing. It prevents us from expanding. It prevents us from being able to actualize because we are content to operate just within that realm. But breaking that fixed mindset is actually possible. It's really possible. I remember after completing my doctoral studies, ahead of my planned schedule and so on, I had this great offer, what I would call my dream job, to head a research department at a university. And I was looking forward to it because I love research. I've shared that with you ladies already. And so when I got that call to actually speak, and I thought, this is outside of my norm. I thought initially the pastor who actually called me to ask me to speak for communion at his church on that Saturday when I was in London, I thought, he must be out of his mind. I mean, my PhD is in education, not in theology. Because my mindset was, I was going to get a job in an area that I was an expert at, in something that I was good at. And I knew that I love research and I was good at it. And so my mindset was, I'm going to be doing well at that. And I would contribute to the growth and development of my institution in terms of research. And I'm going to help students to be able to, get out there, publish papers, do excellent research projects and so on. And that's all good and well, right? But I had to, after much prayer and contemplation, break out of that fixed mindset and recognize that if God was calling me to speak, at least for, I didn't realize it was going to be my career, but if he was calling me to speak that sat, I said, okay, I'm going to do it. So the thing is, at that time, even though I had understood things about purpose, because one of my colleagues from college reminded me, she said, when we were in college, you always spoke about purpose. And it's so true, because I was looking at my old Bible, one that I had from 1998, and in there I had so many thoughts that I had written about purpose. So at a particular point, I was fully aware of purpose, but one of the things that I've grown to realize that purpose changes over time. And so that I was in a new stage in my life, a new era in my life, a new chapter in my life, and God was possibly renewing purpose or redirecting purpose. And so, with all of that in mind, I took up the speaking position because I was not fully aware of what my purpose was for that particular part of my life. So, what I've realized through my own life with the mindset thing, for 9 years after graduating from high school, I didn't go to college because I had fear, and probably I was feeling secure because I had a good job. I was working at the bank, I was making good money, and everything was fine. And so I had not yet developed that mindset to just step out in faith. But the day that I did, I just moved. And that just changed my entire life. And so the thing is, I realized that when I took action and trusted the leading of God and fully depended on God, that opportunities and so on would actually come to make my life successful, because I really wanted to be aligned with the will of God. So breaking the fixed mindset is actually possible, because I realized through my own experience that I could not wait for opportunities to actually come to me. I had to create these opportunities. That's what a growth mindset will tell us to do. You don't wait for the opportunity, you prepare for the opportunity. And that's the reason why we're doing this live training, because if we use this downtime for you to prepare for your uptime, then you are preparing for success. You are creating opportunity for you to serve your clients, those of you who are already in business right now. And for those of you who are in business, and or you have your stuff already set and you're not sure how you can serve your clients, maybe we can get on a discovery call to see how I maybe be able to help you to be able to position yourself to reach your clients even now, because everybody is home and it's a perfect opportunity for all of us to serve our clients, a perfect opportunity for us to be able to support our clients in mentorship and coaching programs so that they too can prepare themselves to do what they need to do. And so when I realized that opportunity didn't have to come, but I could create it, it really changed the dynamics of my life, because I realized that everything was possible, that I didn't have to operate within a realm of just my study area or what I was excellent at naturally, all of my natural gifts and talents and stuff like that. And I thank God for all of these, because I make a joke, and I said to my husband one time, if things ever get bad, I'm talking about last year, I told him that. So it's not about this current crisis. But last year I said that to a friend and then to him, that if things had to be really bad, I'm really good at cleaning. I love organizing and I like things to look nice. And sometimes when I'm at my friends' houses and stuff like that, what I would do is to clean their pantries or their fridge and so on. And I remember one of them last year went on vacation. I was at their house in Texas, and when they came back, they were like, we've never seen that fridge so clean except when we had just bought it. And I said to them, you know what? My husband and my friend, that's the them I'm referring to. I said to them, if push comes to shove and I cannot operate, at the level that I am operating at, serving clients and doing this and traveling and speaking and so on, I'm going to charge people premium dollar to clean their house. And my girlfriend said to me, oh, but you could get, and she mentioned a particular group of people who would do the job cheaper. I said, no, I am not them, because I know what I have to offer and how I am going to present myself. And I am going to charge premium dollar, because I am coming to clean your house. Even though, I'm cleaning your house, I'm coming to clean your house as a professional. Dr. Nadine coming to clean your house, but I will charge you premium dollar for it. The point is, the growth mindset is always looking for opportunities to grow and to create, and not just fall into the norm and stuff like that. So even though I realized that, I found for a long time, before I got that mental breakthrough, before I was able to break through these mental codes and these programs and indoctrinations that were there saying to me, this is how you're supposed to live. And I realized that probably in some way or another, I would have probably been defying these things all the time, not realizing it. Because when I was growing up and I was a teenager, In church, before a girl talks to a guy or a young couple start talking, people start talking marriage. And in my mind, I didn't want to get married. So nobody would force me to do that. You're not going to push me to marry anybody because y'all are afraid, okay, maybe, girls get pregnant out of wedlock and all that stuff. I didn't want to fall into the norm. Okay. And so I just, when I analyze myself, because I do a lot of evaluations, of myself every time to help me to kind of see how I'm growing, where I'm growing, and if I'm retarding in any way or what I need to pull myself up on and so on. I'm realizing that there was some of these things already in me that showed me for a long time I did not care about fitting in. I didn't care about fulfilling the norm or fitting in the norm or the status quo. And so for many of us women, we have allowed, for too many years, we have allowed the programs in our head, what people say or what people expect of us, to actually guide our actions instead of us spending time seeking God and what God wants for us. And so for a long time, I didn't break through that mentally constructed glass ceiling, and I had to become intentional about it, even at the time when I didn't even have that phrase yet coined from my doctoral studies about the mentally constructed glass ceiling. I understood that there was something up here that needed to go. And so I realized that unless we are intentional about how we make decisions and how we deal with things like fear of the unknown, and we choose to act in faith and depend on God, we will be in problems. That's when I realized, for example, for me, after I had finished my doctoral program, and I had so much going for me, had so many talents, so many gifts, so much experience and knowledge, and I had so much. And I'm thinking, what am I going to do with this? I was confused. I'm like, Lord, what am I doing? What am I going to do with this? That's why, even though I did not go to the college and it was already over 2 years, I was actually just traveling around speaking, I still was not absolutely sure, because the mentally constructed glass ceiling was still messing with my success. It was still hindering my growth and crippling any chance that I had of living in my calling. And that's when I decided, I'm going to shatter this. I'm going to break this thing. And that was the day, driving from Austin to San Antonio, Texas, when I called out a lady, a coach, and I said, you know what? I have all of these things going for me. I need your help to help me to package my brilliance, to package my experience, to package my I call it, I told a lady this morning, my unique set of experiences and everything. Each of us have our unique package, because I knew that that mentally constructed glass ceiling was still messing with me, and it had to go. It needed to be shattered so that I can live in my true purpose. I can make the impact that I needed to make, that I can help empower the women I need to empower so they too can make the impact, because we are here to make a difference in the lives of every other single woman that we come into contact with. And so you too may have had your desire to live life the way that God wants you to. But because of the programs that are in your head, because of these codes that have been written, because of the way that you've been indoctrinated growing up as a little girl, most likely in a church or in a closed community, and you're being told what women are supposed to do. And for all of these years, you've been hearing the same thing. And they say that if we hear something often enough, we tend to believe that thing. And for many of us, we have been dealing with that kind of program. It's that program that is running in the background in your mind, that's telling you that you cannot do. It creates these automatic responses of things like fear that says to you, no, even though you have a desire and you know that you're going to do well, don't go there. Don't do it. Don't take the risk. It's these automatic responses that are running your life, and it creates obstacles in your thinking, and it cripples you with fear and prevents you from making the moves that you need to make, that are aligned with your true purpose and messing with your next level of success. Right? And so it's about what you have been programmed to believe and what you should do as a woman. Stay home, take care of the kids, do this, do that. All these things are important. But what if God is saying to you, I want you to do more? Get that good education and go get a good job. What if God is saying to you, I want you to do more? But you might say to yourself, but I wasn't taught to do it that way. I was never taught to dream that I can do this one day. I wasn't taught to believe that I can own my own business, that I can work for myself, that I can be my own boss. Right? I was never taught to believe these things, and I need to fall in line with what I've been taught to do. But while women, that's not the mindset that we have. We are breaking the mentally constructed glass ceiling because we know that there is more. And so the three takeaway points I want you to get today is that you need to work on rewriting the mental codes, rewriting these indoctrinations, these false beliefs, these limiting mindsets by using daily affirmations, reading things that are helping to build your mind, claiming texts like I have the mind of Christ, that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, that whatever he who began a good work, he's faithful to complete it in me. We need to break through the mentally constructed glass ceiling, these indoctrinations, cultural beliefs, and societal and religious norms that have been hindering you or preventing you from dreaming and stuff. Break that mentally constructed glass ceiling. And finally, be willing to grow your mind by feasting on positive things, taking the skills that you have and working to build them and not thinking that you're a tree. You're here. Trees stay one place. They grow in that one spot, but they cannot go anywhere else. You're not a tree and you're meant to grow. So today, we'll have an activity. The activity is for you to take the What is Your Wow Mindset quiz. It's a quiz that I've developed to kind of give you a gauge of what type of wow mindset you may have so that you can intentionally work on breaking that mentally constructed glass ceiling and these limiting beliefs and mental blocks. And then we have a skills task, which is to examine if you have a fixed or growth mindset and write down some of the things that you can do to ensure that your mind is always growing. So we're going to take that What is Your Wow Mindset quiz as an activity. And then for our skills task, we will examine if you have a fixed mindset or growth mindset, and then write down some of the things that you can do to ensure that your mind is always growing. Because as Steve Maraboli said, once your mindset changes, everything on the outside will change along with it. So God bless you, ladies. Have a wonderful day. And I look forward to seeing you tomorrow where we discuss another topic in our 5 days Wow Life Challenge. Bye-bye.